The biggest letdown in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is that Kiryu stole Ichiban's spotlight. But hey, at least he still has that giant squid. Oh wait, Majima stole that too. And he has proof. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is a fun game, but it's not without problems. And the biggest one of them all is its story. While Infinite Wealth did have an amazing start where we see Ichiban living a better life, helping the ex-Yakuzas get a second chance, then getting cancelled and flying to Hawaii to search for his mom, then stumbling upon Agent Kiryu to unravel this big conspiracy of a Hawaiian cult. It's really unfortunate that the final chapter of Infinite Wealth wasn't that good, especially since the spotlight was mostly shown on Kiryu and Ichiban didn't even get to fight his half-sibling. Instead, he has to settle for this voodoo wahoo magic man whose greatest trick is to fire guns. Aren't you immortal? At least do some magic trick or something like pull out a bunny with guns. Infinite Wealth's biggest issue is its story, and thankfully Majima and Pirate Yakuza learned from it, that it managed to give us an absolute cinema experience. Well, in its final chapter. But before that though, if you're excited to play more Yakuza spin-off, then like this video and join Otaku Define for more Like a Dragon content. Infinite Wealth's biggest flaw is its weak ending that sidelined Ichiban. Couple that with a convoluted and rushed final act to justify the introduction of a new final boss. Among Bryce, Ebina, and AG, I would have chosen Ebina and AG to be Ichiban's final fight, considering that they are the mastermind behind Ichiban's sudden expulsion from work and his social cancellation that led him to not being able to fulfill his promise to Arakawa in helping the ex-Yakuza find a new life. While Bryce has been presented more as an antagonist for Kiryu, seeing that he was the mastermind behind Lani's attempted series of kidnapping, and you know, the whole reason why Kiryu was even in Hawaii in the first place. Not to mention that Bryce is using Nele Island to unsafely dispose of nuclear waste, the very thing that caused Kiryu to get cancer. Unfortunately, these things didn't happen as we see Kiryu taking the spotlight away from Ichiban and taking care of Ebina and his lofty ideals, all the while making sure that Millennium Tower explodes in the process. I sometimes wonder why the building management hasn't banned Kiryu yet. Anyway, then we see Ichiban was left to take care of Bryce and the Palekana. While this false prophet isn't actually a terrible antagonist in concept, what failed him in Infinite Wealth is his execution as the big bad. Specifically speaking, his boss fight against Ichiban. Because we see Bryce appeared as this weak antagonist hiding behind a line of expendable goons, despite the game's narrative presenting Bryce as this otherworldly villain. Ichiban didn't resonate well enough against Bryce Fairchild and the Palekana. Their fight wasn't really exciting. In fact, it didn't feel like a Yakuza final boss at all, since Yakuza's biggest strength in storytelling is making the players emotional for the big fight. The first Yakuza game made sure that we will feel the same way as Kiryu does, as we see him fight against Nishiki. While he won that battle, he lost his best friend and the love of his life. The same thing goes for Ichiban's fight against Tendo and Aoki. Ichiban's philosophy about loyalty totally contradicts Tendo's cynicism and disregard for fealty, which has been the running theme of Yakuza Like a Dragon. While Ichiban managed to save Aoki from further harming their family name, but he failed to protect his life. These final battles are effective because of its sentimental significance. Well, if we look at Ichiban and Bryce, their fight didn't have that emotional weight, as it wasn't a personal grudge match. What Bryce could have done in this situation is to make the fight more meaningful to drive Ichiban to go against what he stood for, similar to how other past villains in the Yakuza series have done. Why not have Bryce actually succeed in kidnapping Lani and Ichiban's mother, then seeing that Bryce was presented as this great schemer, have him force Ichiban to choose between saving Lani or Akane. However, what we got as a boss fight in Ichiban is a great disservice to the start of his journey. And thankfully, it seems that RGG Studio managed to learn from this mistake, since Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza didn't forget about the importance of having emotional weight for the big fight. While Lad Pirate Yakuza isn't a perfect game per se, and I wouldn't say that it's significantly better than Infinite Wealth, but what it managed to do is stick the landing and made us emotionally invested in the events of the game. And it's all thanks to to Samoa Joe. Raymond Law as the big bad of this game made the whole final chapter amazing. What makes a good Yakuza antagonist is if they have an ideology that clashes with the protagonist. In this case, Raymond Law is the exact antithesis to Goro Majima. Raymond Law, despite being hailed as the Pirate King, is often seen sitting on his throne, plotting behind the scenes to take over Madlantes from Queen Michelle. Majima, on the other hand, is more of a hands-on as a leader of his Yakuza family. He's not afraid to get out there and actually do the job himself. He stands as a great example among his peers, so much so that he has been dubbed as Yakuza royalty, proven more significantly in his speech against Shigaki about not crossing the line, a mistake that he made in the past with his Kyodai sa Ejima. Raymond Law, as a Pirate King with his dark ambitions, has crossed the lines multiple times, and we actually see this in the game, such as betraying his business partner to take Madlantes for himself, dragging the innocent bystanders to get what he wants. And his other actions are what made the final chapter of Pirate Yakuza have more emotional pressure, such as ransacking Rich Island and kidnapping Moana, messing with Shigaki's mind and nearly pushing him to cross the line, getting Jason stabbed in the whole mess of things, ultimately shattering Noah's heart, leaving him remorseful for chasing his dreams. And of course, tormenting Majima, forcing him to relieve the agony he endured in the hole. In classic Yakuza fashion, it made us emotionally invested to beat up Raymond Law and teach him not to mess with the sea dog of Goromaru. While it wasn't set up as a personal grudge match in the beginning, Raymond made sure to leave an impact on Majima, especially how Raymond parallels Majima in a sense of how both of them approach their dreams. This is the type of conflicting ideologies and personalities that makes Yakuza boss fight an absolute cinematic experience. It sets this emotional weight that inspires us to finish the game as we feel elated with each punches and kicks that lands on the big boss. Like a dragon, Pirate Yakuza learned from Infinite World's mistake, and I hope in the future we're not going to have a replay of what Ichiban went through against Bryce. But hey, I'm not saying that Pirate Yakuza is a perfect game, as it still had its problems, especially with Chapter 2, since it was bloated with introducing the side games, so I hope that also gets improved in the future. Speaking of things that needs improvement, Kiryu's health is one of them, and with Pirate Yakuza's ending, it seems that it is teasing us what Like a Dragon 9 has in store. If you're curious about that, then check this video out. Join Otaku to find for more Yakuza content. This is Math, and stay awesome, my Anikis.